Speed Tiger gas station at exit 227 off Interstate 90 in South Dakota. A typical chain. A bright yellow logo visible from a mile away. The lights were always on. Always. Lev Brenner was driving alone, returning from a fishing trip. The radio hummed, and the trunk smelled of fish and river mud. His tank was nearly empty, and he pulled into the station after midnight. The first thing that struck him was the silence. Total silence. No hum from transformers, no music from speakers, not even the sound of traffic, even though he was only 200 meters away. It was as if he was driving inside a large, soundproof dome. There were only two cars at the station, his pickup truck and an old white Dodge van with faded license plates, parked at the far end of the building, in the shadows. The light inside the store was on, but somehow dim. Like an old photograph. Lev filled up at the farthest pump, using his card. The terminal vibrated, his request processed, but the receipt didn't print. The screen simply displayed, "Thank you. Have a nice evening." All the letters were lowercase, no periods. He needed to use the restroom. The store door rang, but the sound was muffled, as if underwater. A man sat behind the counter, a salesperson. He wasn't young, and he wasn't old. His face was ageless, and he wore a red uniform with a chalk patch. He chewed something slowly, looking not at Lev, but at the small black and white monitor under the counter, where static flickered. "The restroom is outside. I have a key," the salesperson said, not taking his eyes off the screen. His voice was even, without intonation. "And, can I get some coffee?" Lev asked. "The coffee machine's broken." "What's hot?" "The vending machine. In the corner." Lev picked up the heavy wooden key and headed for the restroom outside. The air was still and cold, unusual for this time of year. And the smell wasn't gasoline. Swedish, chemical. Like disinfectant. Or formalin. When he returned, something had changed in the store. The lighting had grown even harsher. The shelves had seemed perfectly stocked, but upon closer inspection, they were filled with the same products. Only one brand of chips. Only one kind of chocolate bars. And all the expiration dates erased. As if they'd been scraped off with a razor. The clerk continued chewing and staring at the static. Stripes flickered on the screen now, and for a second Lev thought he saw a face in them. His own. Sleepy. He approached the vending machine. Behind the glass sat sandwiches in triangular plastic wrappers. They looked normal. He inserted a dollar bill. The machine accepted it with a loud click, but didn't blink or hum. It simply fell silent. And right before his eyes, the sandwich began to change. The bread wrinkled and became covered in a velvety white-green mold. A yellow liquid began to ooze from a slice of cheese. It all happened in 5 seconds. Lev recoiled. His heart pounded. "Hey," he said rudely, approaching the counter. "Is everything you sell expired?" The clerk slowly looked up at him. His eyes were too light, almost translucent. "Everything we have is fresh. Always fresh. You're just late." "What?" "Your shift. The night shift. It ended 2 hours ago." Lev didn't understand. He looked at the clock on the wall. The hands read 2:17. His watch and phone read the same. "It's 2 in the morning," he said. "No," the cashier smiled. It was a lifeless, stretched smile. "It's 4 to 17. Morning. You're stuck on the previous shift. That happens sometimes." And then Lev heard a creak. From outside. He turned around. A white Dodge van was parked right in front of the door. The back doors were slightly ajar. It was dark inside, but the same sweet chemical smell emanated from there, only tenfold stronger. "Who are they?" Lev whispered. "The people who service the vending machines," the cashier replied, looking at the screen again. "Restocking. Recycling expired items." A man in blue overalls and a cap emerged from the van, his face hidden in the shadow of the visor. He was pushing a cart. Large, sealed plastic bags lay on the cart. Something stirred in one of them. Something soft and shapeless. The man in overalls didn't even glance at the store. He walked up to the vending machine, took out the key, opened the back door, and began unloading the spoiled sandwiches. But he didn't throw them in the trash bag. He carefully, almost with surgical precision, placed them in one of the bags he'd brought. Then he took new, fresh sandwiches from another bag and loaded them into the vending machine. These sandwiches looked perfect. Too perfect. Like plastic replicas. Lev realized he had to leave. Right now. He rushed to the door. "You haven't paid," the clerk's voice rang out behind him. The same flat, emotionless tone. "I paid with a card," Lev shouted, running outside. "Not like that," the clerk said. And for the first time, something like curiosity crept into his voice. "Yes," and then he automatically glanced at his watch. It read 2:17. He'd been driving for 10 minutes. The watch hadn't moved. Not on his wrist, not on the dashboard. He turned on the radio. Silence. Not some ethereal noise, but absolute, digital silence. He stepped on the gas. The speedometer needle slowly rose, but the landscape outside the window didn't change. The same darkness, the same reflections of headlights on the same fence. He glanced in the rearview mirror. Behind him, in the darkness, 2 yellow lights glowed. Headlights. He recognized their shape. A white Dodge van. It was following him. At the same distance. Not getting any closer. Not falling behind. Lev stepped on the gas until the tachometer crossed the red zone. The van behind him didn't fall behind. It just stood there. As if tied. And then, ahead, in the light of its headlights, a sign appeared. Bright, yellow. Speed Tiger. Next gas station. Lev's heart sank. He'd been driving along this highway for what felt like an hour. He wasn't supposed to see this gas station again. He passed it. And saw the numbers under the logo, 217. He passed it again. And again. Each time he passed, the van behind him momentarily turned on its high beams, illuminating the interior with a blinding, cold whiteness. Lev understood. He wasn't on the road. He was stuck in a vicious circle. In a shift that had ended 2 hours ago. He was the same expired product that needed careful disposal. And the man in overalls had already pulled out his large plastic bag. The lesson is simple. If you pull into a gas station late at night, and there's only one car there, and the clerk stares at a blank screen, and the machine is full of perfect sandwiches, fill up and leave. Don't go inside. Because you might accidentally buy more than just gas. You might also buy a subscription for a time that's already expired. And for expired time, a completely different fee is charged.
Keep an eye on the clock. If it's stopped, your shift has just begun. And it might never end.